very, very complicated. It's a huge thing to try to grasp, but what I think it boils down to is this. It doesn't matter how many millions vote around the US. You could have 100 million people in Hicksville County in Sleepy Go Bye Bye state, and their votes don't really matter because it's all about these important battleground states where they have what's called college votes or electoral votes. So each time, if whoever wins in those particular states, they get a certain amount of points, and you've got, or votes, electoral votes, and you've got to get to 270 to become the next big bozo of the world. Yeah. No, that didn't happen with Boris Johnson. No, he already was the biggest bozo in the world. I know, this is America now, but America tries to think bigger, bigger, and it's very confusing. And there's votes that have been sent in late, and there's cries of fraud, and all sorts of skullduggery going on. It's just, well, folks, hey, that was our political update there on the ongoing saga of the presidential election in the year of COVID. Yes, insanity reigns supreme everywhere, in every facet of life. Anyway, you're going to find a big welter of insanity running through what I'm going to show you right now. Because, yes, I have been talking quite a bit about The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's awesome adaptation of Stephen King's novel of the same name. And I've been looking for an axe. I found an axe. I have a couple of axes, in fact. I'll get onto that later. But I did find something I didn't know existed until I watched The Shining again for my very recent, Kilt-Man horathon. And I was just looking at merchandise, because there's lots and lots of merchandise out there. And I saw this. Didn't know it existed, but I'm glad it does. It is The Shining board game. What, Kilt-Man? What lunacy is this? A board game about Mad Jack decimating a bathroom door with a fireman's axe? How would you make a game out of that? Well, I don't know, because although this arrived several days ago and I have looked at it and I think it looks amazing, I haven't played it. Those of you who've seen my previous videos on other, board games, such as, what was it now? Horrified, the Universal Monsters board game, which looks really, really impressive, and the big new Jaws board game, which, even that, it's great. Have I played them? No. There's a bit of, what? Yes, that's a major tactical error on my part there. Because these games are cooperative games, which means you're meant to work together, which obviously means you have to have other players. And in Kilt Mansion, nobody except for me. Not even you, mate. You're always too drunk. Want to sit down and play the game. So it just leaves me to make little videos on it and show you how impressive it really looks. But I can't really tell you if the game's any damn good. But this one looks really good, I've got to be honest. So I'll show you this, because I was really, really intrigued by this. How are you going to make a cooperative game out of the antics in the Overlook Hotel? But primarily, I'm going to show you just how it looks, because it looks really good. It's made by Prospero Hill, and it's remarkably cheap. I got this for £20. £20, when the Jaws game and the Horrified Universal Monsters board game, well, I think one's 25 to 30, the other one's over £30 as well, maybe even 40 in some places. So they're quite expensive games, but this is just £20. The design on the front there's little Danny, yes, playing with his trucks and that, on that Navajo Indian pattern on the carpets, that iconic, distinctive pattern. A maze in its own right, because the whole film, even though it culminates in the hedge maze, but it's all about the labyrinths of the mind and the maze that is the Overlook Hotel and its evil influence. And of course, in the film of that sequence, a tennis ball comes rolling down towards him. A little Danny Lloyd who plays Danny Torrance, goes, "Mum!" But Mum's not there. However, somebody else is there in room 237. Now if you look here, I love that cover, and I love the image there, of course. of the Overlook Hotel. Not the one from the film, but the real life Overlook Hotel, which is actually in Oregon, Mount Hood in Oregon. Timberline Hotel, I think it was, which served as the exterior. So when you see the gorgeous location shots of that hotel, that is what you're looking at, a real hotel. But in the UK, in the studios in the UK, when Stanley Kubrick did all the actual interiors, which were all, you know, on a soundstage, they built a huge multi-story facade of the front of that hotel. But what's always struck me is, where the hell is the maze supposed to be? As you'll see in a moment. So there's the colour there of the box. And you'll notice it's ages 17 plus, and there's reasons for that. I'll come on to that in a moment. Just wanted to show you a couple of little things here before I get into the nitty gritty bit. Here's the game board, and the game board is beautifully constructed there. It folds out there at the front of it. That is again an image of the real life hotel at Mount Hood in Oregon, as I say. Now, if you look at that, where the hell does that hedge maze, which is supposed to be just out here, where is it? It's not there, because you actually drive up this way when you see that panoramic view, and yet at the end, when Wendy, Shelley Duvall, and Danny survive and drive off in the snowcat, the poor Dick Halloran, Scatman Crothers, has spent he's travelled the length and breadth of the USA to get from Florida back to them to help them, just to get an axe in his chest for all his troubles. But at least he's provided them the means of escape, the snowcat, to get him out in the storm. But they drive off that way, and that's not where the road is. I think it gets away with it though, because, well, A, it's snowbound and people really don't pay that much attention. Well, they do, because they pore over these films because they're cult classics, so that people watch every single frame, and then they write books on it, and then people like me come along and just study, and go, well, hang on a second. But because the whole thing, the evil influence of the Overlook Hotel, which is the whole crux of this game, by the way, obviously permeates everything, and the maze is a metaphor for what's going on in Jack's mind and what the whole situation, scenario really is. It's a labyrinth, and Jack is the Minotaur, you know. But so where things are specifically, you know, location-wise, does it really actually matter? Are they really actually there? Now this opens up rather lovely into a full vista of the mountains, and it's a lovely piece of artwork. And on this side of it, you have the Overlook Hotel as it appears in the depths of winter, snowbound. Now back to that maze. If anyone goes, well, Kilt-Man, it's behind. It isn't, that's the slope of the mountain. So it ain't there. Now, that's the game board. I'll just show you this. As you can see there, you will move around this clearly. These are, you know, images from the film of certain locations. The garage with the snowcat. There's the entrance to the maze. You have the gold room, the Colorado room. There's the elevator. There, which will gush with blood. There's the gold room there, and the bar with Lloyd behind the bar. Is he behind the bar? He isn't. It's empty. Room 237. The corridors. So you'll move around this, because what you are in this game, and it's a game for 3 to 5 players, you all assume the role of caretakers. You're all Jack Nicholson. So for the long winter months, you're going to be holed up there, and you've got to try to withstand the power, the influence of the evil Overlook Hotel. And obviously throughout the course of the game, you may well become possessed. And the reason why it's 17 plus, quite clearly, is because you can kill people. People can die in this game. And there is, you know, a definite concept of evil. And another great point, which I'll come on to, is alcohol. So that's the game board, right? It doesn't look that impressive and elaborate, I know, it's just nice pictures. But obviously you'll be seated all around this, and it doesn't matter where you are, it's the actual gameplay, and the gameplay takes place in rounds, and you've got each month, because the months over the winter period which you're meant to try to survive through. And I think at the start of each round, each month, I think you spin something and it tells you that, you know, the certain amount of rounds can take place within this particular month. And the idea is you've all got to survive, because if you don't all survive it, then you've lost. So, you know, if one of you gets killed, uh-oh, big trouble. Because it's cooperative, you've got to work together, you've got to strategize. We'll come on to all this. And also there's a variant on the game as well, but they recommend that you play the game relatively safely to begin with, so you're all caretakers. But there's one variant where one of you at random, and no one will know who it is, will be already possessed, or the game terms it as being corrupted. You are corrupted by the influence of the Overlook. So you might have someone who's working with you ostensibly, but really they're not, because they're completely and utterly deranged. So as usual with these things, you have playing pieces, you have dice. Although I love the look and the overall feel of this game, I'm a little bit bored of there's the playing pieces. They're very, very standard, aren't they? I mean, I don't know, what would you have done? Would you have had lots of little Jack Nicholsons, you know, little figures of Jack with an axe? Actually, that would have been really good, wouldn't it? Thinking about it. Shelley Duvall with those great big bulbous frog eyes. Whoa! Jack, I'm so confused. Confused? Hun, you know nothing about confusion. I've read those rules. I'm confused. But I love this, you know, you have the room 237 room key. So I think each player, when they start off, they pass that, I think. The dice, let's have a look at the dice. Or die. Let's get these bits and bobs out. Room 237. I actually have the big full key fob for room 237 with a key on it as well. I'll show you that at some point. I've got some other bits and bobs of The Shining. Let's get these pieces out of the way. So you've got a white one, you've got a blue one, you've got a red one, you've got an orange one, and you've got a purple one. The little blood red cube, I'm not sure what that's for actually. You have this with a balloon on it. Hang on, a balloon? Is that meant to be it? So the little girls have a balloon. You have a dice with weapons on it. The carving knife, which Wendy slices his hand. Wendy, I'm home. You have the axe. Here's Johnny. And you have, what else you have? The elevator doors there. And then you have the baseball bat. Wendy, stop swinging the bat. Wendy, give me the bat. And you have white, nothing. That might mean something. It might be like a white out. I don't know. You have lots and lots of cards. And these are really good too. Let's just make sure I've got them all. You have event cards. You have your shining cards with certain types of values. Again, you've got the Navajo pattern there, which is a nice touch. These are lovely. These depict images from the film. Now, they're not photographs, they are genuine, just artwork. So there's the Grady girls. There's the door, slightly ajar, to room 237. Hope you can see these without the reflections. There's one of the images, the blood soaked with the axe on the floor. Or the bodies there. The bodies aren't there, but the blood is there. There's the cobwebbed corpses, which only Wendy sees those. And that initially was only in the American cut of the movie, but it's now in the longer version anyway. There's Wendy looking at his writings. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I'll come on to that. There's more to that. There's a room. Not just a room, it's a room with red rum written on it there. Don't know if you can see that on the door there, and it's being splintered through with axe blows. There's a great shot. That is obviously Jack as the Minotaur shambling through the hedge maze in the snow. limping and hunched over with the cold, coming to resemble some kind of like real monster. There's poor Dick Halloran's body on the floor, having been axed in the chest. There's Danny and Tony. Tony, do you understand the rules of this game?
No, I don't, Mr. Kilt-Man.
Do you think you'll ever understand the rules of this game?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Kilt-Man. I don't want to play this game.
Why don't you want to play the game, Tony?
Because I'm a sore loser.
We'll be playing with him then, will we? Room 237. There's the gold room, full of all the flappers and the dapper gents during the big party time. And well, again, here's where it's 17 or over. There's Jack with the woman from 237, but not the fit woman that gets out of the bath, but the old crone, covered in welts and bruises and cuts. And I think we repeat. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, there's John Goodman. Well, does not remind me of him though. Oh, of course. Yeah, Danny prowling round. See, again, the way that he moves around the corridors, he's going round the maze of the labyrinthine corridors and halls of the hotel. So it puts him in the mindset of being in that maze later on, which can only help him. Yeah, we've seen those. So these are like shining cards. So I think they depict the influence, the growing influence of what's happening. And there's some more. Yeah, and they're the same sort of pictures. We have as well. We have event cards. Now these, again, are going to depict what has to happen. You've got a lot more of those shining cards as well. But the event cards, right, let's have a look at this one. Up in the back, again, you've got the patterns. That's the sort of the peacock sort of pattern you've got there. And I love the way that they're written as well. They're written like Jack has typed it out. So it just repeats. And sometimes, the font is different or it's off-center. It just depicts all of that. Right, so it says, the stairs may not be used this round. The stairs may not be used this round. The stairs may not be used this round. And it just repeats itself. The office may not be entered this round. The office may not be entered this round. Players may not move more than a single space this round. Room 237 may not be entered this round. Room 237 may not be entered this round. It's kind of written in patterns. Choose one player to draw a shining card. Remove one willpower token from the pool. I'll read some of the instructions to you. I've gone about this in a convoluted fashion, but hey, back to front, arse over tit, upsy daisy do. What does it matter? The kitchen may not be entered. Choose one player to draw a shining card. Move all players to the Colorado room. And obviously it goes on. Now, there's your caretaker. There's the maze. And that mimics that beautiful shot where Jack, there's a model of the maze. Jack will look over it and look down into it. And in a brilliant trick shot, the camera will let you can see Wendy and Danny are going through it in the daytime at the start of their epic sojourn of cabin fever. They're going through the maze, and they're really there in the maze that they actually genuinely constructed. But Kubrick, with this great trick shot, used a facsimile of that superimposed and filmed it from a skyscraper looking down, and then gradually, and he actually filmed it himself. He went out on this crane to do it, a hell of a long way up, and began to zoom down onto them. But it looks as though Jack is like this huge glowering giant leaning over the real maze. It's a really, really good, eminently creepy shot. Caretaker, you win if all caretakers survive the 4th or 5th month. You lose if any caretaker dies. To accuse, reveal this card and the accused player's roll card. 1 accusation total per game. So obviously you can accuse someone of being your Jack, you're corrupted. If accused is corrupted, all players gain 1 willpower total each shining phase. If accused is caretaker, so obviously if you made the wrong accusation and they're just a caretaker, all players gain 1+ shining total each shining phase. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. So yeah, that all pretty much says the same thing each time. Preparation prevents piss poor performance. I've never really grasped that one. So, I mean, there's a good image of the game and all laid out, the tokens, the cards, you know, the key fob, everything. The instructions, folks, start off like that. I've done it. Can you see that? And if you can't, you can guess what it is. It literally is just all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. How outstanding is that? And then you go into all your instructions here. Now you've got as well lots of tokens. These hearts are your health tokens. So you can gain health throughout the game, but you can lose health as well. Now with a game like this, it clearly mainly means mental health, but you can get sliced and diced and attacked as well. Bravo! Whiskey comes into this game quite heavily, I've noticed. As you'll notice there actually is whiskey glasses. Weaponry, you've got the knife, the baseball bat, the axe, and just blood red counters with numbers on them. On the back of these you have the Navajo maize print. Beautiful, wonderful design that. But yeah, you've got whiskey. You've got quite a lot of these cards, these tokens, and another sheet of them there, they're all the same sort of thing. But let's just, I'll give you a little read of it. Right, now I'll give you the overview of the Overlook. Right, it's for 3 to 5 players, ages 17 plus. Average game lasts 45 to 60 minutes. Well, that's not long enough for guys to go stir crazy or bonkers, is it, you know? Overview. The Overlook Hotel is closed for the winter. You and your friends have travelled deep into the Rocky Mountains to serve as its caretakers for the next several months. The trouble is, many unspeakable tragedies have occurred in the hotel over the years. A strange and terrifying aura can be felt in every room and hallway, and your sleep is plagued with dark visions of the past that are slowly corrupting your minds. When you discover the radio has been sabotaged, you fear the worst. One of you has already fallen victim to the hotel's malign influence. Can you muster enough willpower to last through the winter without becoming possessed by the Overlook, or will you remain here forever as its permanent guests? Objective. The Shining is a game of survival and suspense. Players are caretakers exploring the hotel, attempting to gain enough willpower to withstand its corrupting influence each month. Those who fail become temporarily possessed, attacking and possibly killing other players. Collectively, you win if you all survive to the end of the 4th month. It's a bit of a tall ask, isn't it? Now, I'd like a game where, you know, like, well, you've died, off you go, you can just watch in the periphery. Or if you've died, you can come back, you can return. Hey, there's an offshoot game we could do. That could be the Evil Dead game. Starts off pretty much the same. 5 friends go off to an isolated cabin in the woods. You've got to use your willpower to withstand the evil influence. See? It's one game fits all. And then you've got the corrupted variance objective. Well, the corrupted variance and the objective is one of you plays the role of the corrupted who has already succumbed to the terrible forces of the Overlook and secretly acts against the other players. The corrupted wins if one caretaker dies. So, you know, the odds are pretty much stacked against you winning this game. Be careful. If the caretakers fail to identify the corrupted before the end of the 4th month, you've got 5 months, the 4th month, then the corrupted will sabotage the snowcat, preventing the escape and forcing the caretakers to survive a 5th month before the snow thaws and help arrives. Then it goes on about the setup and all this, how the game will proceed each round. If you can hear bangs, it's actually it's Bommy Night. Bommy Night, folks, for those of you who are not in the UK, is actually Bonfire Night. Guy Fawkes Night, celebrating a failed terrorist attack on the Houses of Parliament. You know, you think you guys in America have got it mad. And it's even though it's called Bonfire Night on the 5th of November, Bonfire, we call it Bommy Night. Bommy? Why? Is it because you're setting off fireworks called air bombs? No. It stems from the Second World War, when a lot of buildings were bombed out, hit by, Nazi warplanes and bombers, and people would go and play and set bonfires up on the bomb sites. So, Bomby Night. That might not be true. It is an explanation that I've heard a few times. So, but it seems to have caught on. So, Bomby Night. Right, the willpower tokens, I've shown you those. Willpower tokens represent the mental resolve you need to overcome the corrupting force at the Overlook Hotel. So obviously you've got to try and collect more of them, and you might have to sacrifice them. The whiskey tokens, obviously I just want all the whiskey tokens. They're mine. I'm not even corrupted, but I will fight to the death and kill all the other caretakers because I want the whiskey. Each whiskey token provides willpower equal to the total number of whiskey tokens you've collected. That makes sense. Each whiskey token provides willpower equal to the total number of whiskey tokens you've collected. Example, 1 whiskey token is worth 1 willpower. 2 whiskey tokens are worth 2 willpower each. Aha! For a total of 4. 3 whiskey tokens are worth 3 willpower each for a total of 9. Fireworks. And you've got weapon tokens as well, obviously, and you've got shining cards.
Where are the shining cards, Mr. Kilt-Man?
They're there. Showed you them before. I don't know.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Were you prowling around when you shouldn't have been prowling? I can't blame him for that. All my fingers are prone to that. So yeah, gameplay, months and rounds and all this. By the way, whiskey is spelt in this game with an E before the Y at the end. Why would that be? Only whiskey from Scotland is spelt without the E. That is true. And being as this is America, it's bourbon he's drinking. It's not Scotch. He is drinking bourbon. Bourbon, whiskey, yeah. There's the yin and yang of that, like. But much of a muchness, really, if we're all gonna, distill this down to its lovely roots. I do like the fact that Jack Nicholson, when he, after one of his first blow-ups with Wendy and the frustration of writer's block and the influence of the Overlook, goes into the gold room and it's completely empty and there's no booze there. They told him, we take all the booze, you can't be insured for the booze being here. And he's a recovering alcoholic. Good luck with that one, Jack. And he just sits at the bar and his hands are gone and he goes, I'd sell my soul for just one glass of beer. It's almost like, to do that, he's made a Faustian pact, because then all of a sudden Lloyd, the ghostly bartender Lloyd, suddenly appears. Well, the beer, sir, I like it here, Set me up one of those, will you, Lloyd? You set him up and I'll keep knocking him down. And so it's almost like, the whiskey is the influence. It's, once you've got that in your system, you've opened up the floodgates. And in The Shining, in the Overlook Hotel, the floodgates literally open up to a flood, a riptide of gore coming down the corridor. Folks, I can't tell you how this plays out because I've not played it, but I do find it fascinating. I love the idea of these games, and I never knew that one of The Shining existed, and I think it's a clever concept. You've got to work together, you've got to keep your mind and your faculties together, but increasingly as the months go on, you're going to become more and more frustrated. You're going to begin to doubt the person next to you. A bit like The Thing. This could be The Thing. It's very similar. But I'm very intrigued as to how it actually does, how the events take a turn for the worst and how you can possibly win and survive this. But, there's not many of us in this house that actually want to play these bloody things. So, in the meantime and the in-between time, it looks like I'll just be admiring the beautiful construction of the board, the fantastic idea of that, and the beautifully illustrated, booklet of instructions, the imagery there, and that wonderful artwork. In a way, I kind of wish the board was much bigger so that you didn't just get the mountain in the middle and the daylight, but you actually had a bit more of, you know, maybe the maze as well. But the idea behind that, you can see there's a hotel in daylight, the hotel, nighttime in the snow. Sun, snow, mountain in the middle, bisected by sun and shadow. Folks, I have been and always shall be Kilt-Man. My ongoing mission to show you delights, hidden treasures which you might not have otherwise known about. Please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and please, you know, cast your vote. And we're going to see you all later. Danny!